What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 7 of Keeping It Real with Keezel. Just definitely want to give a shout out to everyone that's been taking the time to listen each and every week, tuning in, subscribing, liking, commenting, everything in between. I definitely appreciate each and every one of you guys. And it's funny because somebody asked me the other day, they're like, what was the point of the podcast? I'm just like, you know what? It's more for me than anything else, right? If this is something that takes off and it becomes bigger, absolutely great. If not, and it stays kind of where it's at or whatever, awesome. Like I said, this is for me just to kind of give my perspective, give my opportunity, my situations, my thought process to you guys. And if it helps out in any way, shape, or form, I know I'm doing my job at the end of the day. If not, that's all good. You know what I'm saying? This is it's a learning curve. I'm getting better and better weeks by weeks, and I'm getting more information and getting more tools to make it successful, and we'll go from there. This week, being honest, this is going to be a little bit shorter for you guys, right? And well, that's the plan, to be a little bit shorter, but I wanted to touch on something in terms of being grateful. And being grateful for a lot of the small things. I know that we take a lot of things for granted, especially living here in the States and what we have at our disposal and things like that, but it's when you take a second to really kind of step back and smell the roses, you have a lot of things to be grateful for and a lot of blessings that have come your way, whether you believe in God or higher power or whatever. There's a lot of things that, we're 100% should be thankful for, especially right now, right? We're dealing with the pandemic and just continue to stay safe, stay healthy, especially with the different movements that are going on and things like that. There's so many negatives out there, but continue to continuously be positive is a huge thing. Now, I want to tell a story. I met a young man, I want to say earlier this summer. I had like a little, social distancing gathering, kind of barbecue, fire pit, whatever. And, I was just telling my story. Don't get me wrong. I had a few drinks. So, I was kind of speaking from the hip and just giving my perspective. And, he came out to me and said that, he was dealing with depression. And I'm just like, man, like in my head, I'm like, man, you're really too young to be dealing with depression. I told him, like, hey, take my number, and let's talk. Anytime you need something, just give me a call. And before I even go any further, I'm just like, man, like, 2020, we got 17 and 18-year-olds dealing with depression. I'm just like, why is that? When I was 17, 18 years old, I was happy. Life was good. Like I was in high school. I could drive where I wanted to go, a good family dynamic. I was playing soccer, and just, I didn't take for granted the small things in life. And it was weird. And one day, probably like a month later, I was talking to him and I'm just like, he was really struggling. I'm just like, well, tell me what's wrong. Why are you depressed? And I'm not going to tell you guys the reason, but he told me, X, Y, and Z reason. And I'm like, well, listen, let me ask you this. I was like, you have a roof over your head, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, you got a bed to sleep in, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, you got clothes to wear, right? And he was like, yeah, I do. I was like, awesome. I was like, I'm sure there's a refrigerator downstairs stocked full of food that your parents got for you and the family, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, to be fair, you're winning out than a majority of people, right? You can go to any place across this country or around the world and see people that don't have a place to live, don't have food to eat regularly, right? Don't have clothes to put on their back, or just a roof over their head, right? And I think that's one of the small things that, as a people, especially that what I see is we take for granted each and every day. Just the ability to take a second and be like, listen, I'm not doing too bad. I mean, listen, right now, like I said, even for me, I got a roof over my head, man. I got AirPods in my head. I'm recording this. Don't outdate me, but I'm recording this on an iPod where I'm doing my thing on my iPhone, in a city that's, up and coming city. And, I have a car that I can drive. I have clothes. I have food. Like, there's so many things that we take for granted because who knows? Like I said, none of this stuff is promised tomorrow. But we definitely have to be grateful for the opportunity that we have, and especially the people that have paved the way to make it happen. I'm sure that, regardless of the kind of family dynamic, I would like to say most people have like a support system or a family or parental figure that have tried to give them the best life possible to make it work, or give them the best upbringing to give them the best opportunity to be successful in this life. And I feel like sometimes as kids we take all that stuff for granted. I mean, when I was growing up, and even though I'm only 28, and I was growing up, like, shoot, I was happy just to go over to my friend's house for a sleepover, or ride the bikes in the neighborhood, or go to, practice, or, stuff like that. Like, it was fun because, you got to hang out and do stuff. And then now it's just like, kids grew up on Wi-Fi. It's like, oh, there's no Wi-Fi. Oh, or, there's no signal. Oh, what am I going to do? It's a completely different time from when I was growing up to now. And I feel like the generations have changed dramatically. And even like kind of going on to the coaching side of it, like, not to get too much on the soccer side of it, but I've noticed like from some of the kids that I've coached in the past that like some of them aren't willing to put in the work to attain the goals that they want, and they feel as though it's just going to happen. I'm just like, it's never going to happen. I can give you multiple examples of people that I've known that have played or gotten the careers that they wanted to at that next level. And it wasn't because it was given to them, it's because they worked their butt off to get there, right? And, without that work ethic, right, there's not much people have. I feel like a lot of people are very comfortable in, their kind of secluded bubble and don't like to reach out. And that's completely fine. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's a bad thing or any way, shape, or form. But sometimes I feel as though you got to live a little. You got to experience new things. I mean, listen, I'm 28 and I'm at a point right now where I've, taken different leaps of faith and travel to different areas and see different parts of the world. And why not? There's so much out there to be grateful for. I mean, listen, I going back even on my soccer career, I would not take one moment for granted, because once injuries hit, man, that time is gone. Like, you can't play that game forever, no matter who you are, right? You can look at some of the greatest people that played, 15 plus years in a specific sport or whatever. One bad hit, one wrong step, their career is done, right? Same thing in the professional world. I mean, you do one bad mistake or whatever, you lose your career, you're out on the street, right? So we really got to be thankful for a lot of the small things. And I feel like, we only really are thankful when it comes to that one day of the year where it's Thanksgiving, when we're with our family and we're going around the table saying what we're thankful for. We should do that every day, right? We should give 10 minutes a day of gratitude of just some of the small things, like one, just waking up, right? Some people didn't even wake up this morning, right? And we had the opportunity to wake up this morning and live this life that we have, and we are the captains of our own ship. There's no way, shape, or form that somebody else can dictate my life, right? And that's a part of my mentality. Like, there's nobody on this earth that can dictate how I think, how I'm going to move, how I'm going to operate, because they're not living my life, right? I'm the type of person where, obviously, whether you're in a work environment or sports or anywhere in between, you have a boss or a superior that you have to go to. And that's obviously, you have to do that because they're paying the bill. They're paying your bills at the end of the day. But in terms of who you are, I'm saying, like I said, I've never been a person to succumb to peer pressure. I've never been a person to, not do what I want to do, because at the end of the day, like, you're not living my life, right? And that's part of me being happy. Like, I do what I want to do, and I do it to the best of my ability. Like, there's been times where people have asked me to go here and go there, and I'm just like, no, I'm not really interested, because I'm tired and I just want to hang by myself or just chill out, with my girl or whatever the case is. But don't get me wrong, do what you need to do for you. And, like, obviously people want to have friends, but, like, at the end of the day, if I go to sleep at night and I got a smile on my face because I know I worked a full day, and I did everything to the best of my ability, and I did my schedule, and I got everything on my checkoff list that I got done, I had a good day, right? And nobody can tell me otherwise. And that's the mindset that I have. There's nothing out there that can literally change my perspective, because nobody's walking in my shoes. Nobody's done the things that I've done in terms of my life and the way that I've done it. So until somebody, has told me or has lived my life exactly, I don't take advice from people that aren't qualified to give it to me, and there are different aspects of my life that I might not have any experience in whatsoever, but I'm sure I could call somebody and be like, hey, I have no experience. You are somebody that's done this before. Can you give me some advice? And that advice is something that's important to me, because that person is qualified to give it to me, right? And if I give you guys one lesson out of today is, take advice from people that are qualified to give it to you. When it comes to business, right? Or, your career path. I think business to start. Like, if you're getting advice from people that are broke, I wouldn't take that advice, right? If you're looking to save money, I wouldn't take advice from somebody that's not saving money. If you're looking to start your own business, I wouldn't talk to somebody that's just doing a traditional job that's not going to have them own their own business. If you're looking to be a professional athlete in any way, shape, or form, I wouldn't take advice from somebody that quit in high school. If you're looking to be one of those higher up occupations, or like a doctor, lawyer, or whatever, I wouldn't take advice from somebody that hasn't been in that position, right? It doesn't make sense. Why would you take advice from somebody that hasn't been there? Now, in terms of relationships, right, if you're coming from a family dynamic that your parents have been married for years, I would definitely take advice from your parents. Or you've been around a friend or family, a friend or other family member that has a long-lasting relationship, I would take advice from them because they've seen it, they've done it, they worked through it, and they're at that point now where they can give advice because they walked through it. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that we really have to realize is that, like, we have so many resources at our disposal and we don't take advantage of it. I mean, even for myself, like, there are some days where I think, like, I can do it all. I do it all by myself. I know what I'm doing, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, like, sometimes somebody else has a better perspective because they've done it already. And why not just ask for help? There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Listen, I can put my hand up and tell you guys right now, when I was in college, I needed a lot of help, right? When it came to school and things like that, because I just wasn't good at it, right? But I'm, not even mad enough. I'm just more self-aware that, like, I need help with something if I want to reach my goal. And I challenge you guys to do that. If, like, definitely, if you need help, reach out. But, like, going back to, what I was saying, I got a little bit of a rant. Being grateful is something that we all, I think, should do. Right. And I think that would put in perspective, in my honest opinion, on people that, that are dealing with some type of, depression. Right. Because, let me ask you guys this. Right. If you're upset that somebody's not your friend or they make fun of you or whatever the case is, I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't hang out with that person to begin with. Right. If somebody's trying to steer me down the wrong path and my parents told me no, I don't want us to come to peer pressure to make them happy, which ultimately doesn't make me happy because when I go home, I'm going to get in trouble, right? Life itself is a beautiful thing, right? The fact that, like I said, people were just waking up in the morning and breathing and being able to go about their daily, routine is a blessing, right? Being able to understand, the opportunity that we have each and every day. I mean, think about it. We only have 24 hours each day, and it's how we use them. And I think one of the biggest things that I got from my lifting coach in Providence was that, the only thing that separates, you from your competition is how you spend those 24 hours. I think that hit home, right? And you can apply that to anything, right? You can apply that to, sports. You can apply that to work, right? I think those people that are out there grinding, those entrepreneurs that are trying to make a name for themselves in any way, shape, or form, they're grinding long hours each and every day, just trying to make that next step in their career, right? But it's that grind and that work ethic and that determination is what sets them apart from the others that don't make it, right? And I think part of that comes like that self-motivation, self-momentum, and self-will and discipline to get to that next level. Because if you don't see a reason or see a why to do it, you're not going to have much motivation to continue to do it when things get tough. Right. And I think one of the biggest things for any of us is that we realize that, like I said, tomorrow is not promised. Take advantage of today. Definitely love the loved ones that you have and make sure that they know that they're loved. And take the time to really be appreciative of just the small things. It's funny, I think there's times when we're really like, thank God that didn't happen. Like, anytime that we've been speeding on the highway and you see the cop sitting off the corner, like, you look in your rear view and you're just like, oh, please, don't come out. And they don't. Like, oh, thank God, right? Those things like that are great, right? But be appreciative for the things that, a lot of people might not have for granted. I mean, you could look at second or third world countries that don't have clean running water, right? To drink, let alone bathe, just drink. Or, the opportunity that they have to go to get an education. Some people, even in this country, in the United States, don't have the opportunity to get an education because it costs too much money, right? And to be fair, college isn't the only way, but, we're so used to hearing that you go to high school, you go to college, you find a 9-to-5 and call it a day. Right? You wait till you're 65, 70 years old to retire and live the last, if you live to be 90, 20 years of, whatever, right? but being grateful for any opportunity that comes your way. Like if you get a job interview, whether you think the company is not worth your time or not, that's a blessing, right? If you get an opportunity to make some extra money because you need it, that's a blessing. If you're able to impact someone else's life for the better and be able to bestow knowledge on them, it's an opportunity. It's a blessing, right? Be grateful for those opportunities to be better, right? I think right now as a human race, we're struggling on so many fronts because we're so divided right now, right? And I'm not going to get into politics or anything like that, but I feel as though we need, people to come together and try to unify us, because without that, we're going to fall. United we stand, divided we fall. And right now I feel as though we're so divided on so many different fronts that, things aren't going to get better anytime soon. I think at the end of it, making sure that, we're leading the next generation into the right path. And I know one of the crazy topics that a lot of people hear or talk about is like, disciplining your kids. Now, for me, when I was younger and I acted up, that belt came out with a quickness, and I knew never to do that again, right? But like for me, I feel as though that set the precedent as I got older. I was like, I know to be respectful when it comes to older people. What I'm saying? I know that, I'm not going to steal. I know I'm not going to do anything bad, because I knew that I did not want to get my butt whooped by my parents anymore, right? All you need is one time. Like the one time hurts the most, and you never have to do it again. Maybe I got spanked maybe twice in my life, 3 times in my life. But outside of that, I didn't need a second or third chance. Like that one time was enough. And, my opinion on it, I don't really know. I feel as though, getting your point across can come in different ways, shapes, and forms. But I know for a lot of my friends that I grew up with, we all got whooped. And I don't think any of us has gone wrong or done anything stupid in the last couple of years. From what I've seen on Facebook, everyone seems like they're doing okay. So I think it's the biggest thing. And I think the level of awareness, self-awareness is huge too. Right? Can we be self-aware that if we're struggling, we can ask for help? Can we be self-aware that if we're doing well, can we give back to help somebody else reach that same potential if they're on that same path? For me, I'm always open and available to have conversations to help someone else get out of a rut, depression, anxiety, whatever. And to be fair, I'm not a doctor. I don't have a PhD in this. I don't have anything, right? But I knew that the one young man that I talked to, I told him for 30 days, like for a month, I wanted him to text me every morning or every time that he woke up, 10 things that he was grateful for, right? 10 things. And they could be whatever. Smallest things in the world, biggest things in the world, anything in between. But after, I want to say about 14 or 15 days, I stopped getting those texts. And I'm like, hey, man, what's going on? He was like, you know what? Like, I'm at a really good point right now in my life because I'm so thankful for so many small things. Like, I'm thankful for my friends that are there for me. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my parents, my dog, sports, being able to go fishing, hanging out with my dad, so many things. And all that was a change in mentality, right? There wasn't I didn't have to do any coaching or like therapy or whatever. It was just like, I just want to know 10 things that you're grateful for. And I think if all of us can do that, we wake up every morning and we can list 10 things that we're grateful for and do it consistently every day, it gives us a different mindset and appreciation for just the small things in life, right? And sometimes I'll see people and I'll be like, hey, how you doing today? Like, oh, I'm having a tough day. And how are you? Like, man, it's another day in paradise, right? And people laugh or whatever, but at the end of the day, like, whether you're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or Omaha, Nebraska, or anywhere in between, right? And the fact that you're up and alive is a blessing in itself. Because think about it, there are people that didn't wake up today, especially with what's going on in the world. There are people that did not wake up, and their family members or families are getting torn apart because of the loss of a loved one, right? And definitely be appreciative of the ones that you have, because one day they're not going to be there, and you're going to cherish those moments because you can remember the good times that you have with them. But I think that was the biggest thing in terms of my episode this week, guys. It's just being as grateful and appreciative as possible just for life, right? I think there's so many things that distract us from the everyday of just being happy, right? There's so much going on in social media, people doing this and people doing that, and you see things with celebrities and stuff like that. Don't get wrapped up in all that stuff, right? Focus on you, right? Because at the end of the day, you can see everybody else doing whatever, and they're just like, whatever, called flexing, whatever. But at the end of the day, you have to be happy with yourself first, right? And I think that starts with being appreciative and grateful for just the small things that you have in your life. And to be fair, if you ever need a chance or need something in terms of validation that that's something serious, go to any populated city and go to a low income area or go to a homeless area and see people that aren't living the same life that you are, right? Or not having a car, or not having, they're struggling a bit, right? It's a different mindset. People can, whatever the financial situation is, that also plays a part, but people might not be at the same financial level that you are, right? And making sure that you're appreciative, right? If you have a well-paying or good-paying job or career, making sure you use that to your full advantage, and you're saving, for, like I talked about before, in terms of hard times, or being in a situation where you can provide for your family or stuff like that. And those are things that people take for granted all the time. But I think the biggest thing is just being self-aware that, like, hey, I'm at a point in my life where things are good. I'm able to do a lot of small things. I'm healthy. I have people that care for me and that love me. I'm looking to help others get to their next step in life. And the only way that we can consistently do that is by being at a point where we're grateful for those small things. And that grateful and that positive energy, I don't know if you guys know law of relativity or all those 13 laws of the universe, but that comes back to you as well, right? That comes back full circle. And if you can help one person make a difference in a positive way, that's going to change their life for the better, and you've impacted somebody, which could help impact somebody else. And we want to talk about positivity in the world. All you need is just one person to make that difference. And from there, it's a domino effect, and that positivity continues, that momentum grows. And now we're at a point now where everybody's helping one another get to that next level. Help one another, right? Be grateful for the opportunity just to be here, be in the moment, be present. Especially, I'll tell you this, I think one of the biggest issues that we have now is our cellular device, our cell phones, right? We're so wrapped up in cell phones and social media and things like that we're not present in the moment. And I think for me, God willing, everything goes good, I get to see my 29th birthday in September, and I definitely want to be in the moment. I want to enjoy it. And people are like, well, you're turning 29, you're trying to party? Yeah, I'm trying to party. I'm celebrating life. For me, this is a national holiday, right? In my head, I don't care what anyone else thinks. This is a national holiday because I'm celebrating me. I'm celebrating life. I'm celebrating the creation of, everything that I am. And everyone has a national holiday. You should celebrate that as such, right? It's your day, the day that you were born, and you should live it to the fullest, right? And when it comes to that day, whether it's your birthday or New Year's, everyone always likes to reflect, like, what happened this past year. And there's so many things that you could be grateful for. Obviously, hey, we're in 2020. Pandemics happen. There's 2 hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico. You got all this injustice and reform and movements going on. You got a political debate. You got travel bans and stuff like that. And people are like, wow, that was a pretty bad year. No, really, right? But at the end of the day, look at yourself. Like, what have you been able to accomplish this year, right? And having the opportunity just to do it is what a lot of people can't do. Right, and just making sure that each day and each second that we take, we try to use it to our full advantage and make the best of it. And I know I keep talking about it, but I think it's super important to be in a place, mentally, that we're happy. Right? There's so many things to be happy about. Right, if you have a significant other, love them like you never would love them. If you have family still, cherish those moments. If you're in a financially stable situation, embrace it. Right. There's so many things to be happy for. You're having dinner, awesome, right? Say thanks for the opportunity, because a lot of people didn't have that. And we continuously will just get better and better and be grateful more and more. And that's something that you can instill in other people, because a lot of people don't think like that. A lot of people aren't going to have this mentality of like, me being grateful for such the small things. There are people that, walk down the street just to get a bite to eat and don't come home. There are people that go on trips and, get poisoned out of your bit by something ridiculous, whatever, right? But you being able to do those things and to come home safely to your loved ones are something to be grateful for. There's so many different situations of things that have happened across the world that people go to work and aren't able to come home because of something that happened. There are crashes all the time on the highway, people not paying attention or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, we have to be in a point where, we're in the moment, we're present, and we're getting better each and every day. Just be thankful, be appreciative, be grateful for all those small things. As one of my friends say in terms of their business, find the good in everything. Right, negatives are going to happen, but definitely find the good. Be the better person when it comes to disputes. Forgive anybody that's done you wrong. Doesn't mean you don't forget, right? But definitely forgive. That gives you a peace of mind for sure. Because you not being able to forgive somebody for anything, they're going to go continuously live their life, and you're going to be stuck in that place and not going to get any better. And there's just so many things. I mean, listen, I can continue to go on and on about this forever. I just think it's important just right now that we're at a point where we take it day by day. Right, we continue to grow as a person, right, and that growth comes in so many different ways. Reading, podcast, taking time for yourself, clearing your thoughts, going for walks, hanging out with friends, listening to music, getting away, whatever, right? Just find time for you, because that mental, peace comes from within. It doesn't come from anybody else. And I think doing all those things, and like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to prescribe you anything or tell you that I'm wrong, or you might not believe I'm right, whatever. But in terms of that, dealing with, depression and being sad, there's so many ways that we can get around it, and we can help benefit ourselves and better ourselves. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to us, right? Nobody can tell us what to do, but we have to make sure we're doing the right things to make sure that we're at a good spot. But listen, guys, I appreciate you again for tuning in, listening. Subscribe, follow, comment. You can reach me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at keeping it real KB. On Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. If you have a friend, know a friend, send them this. If they need help, feel free to shoot them my number. If you have an email as well, I love to take the time to talk and help people. And I think that one of the biggest things of this, if something's making you sad, do what makes you happy. All right, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your week, and I'll catch you guys next week.